Butterflies fill my spine, I feel myself getting hot again. Nerves rushing through my brain, yeah, they can't hear fiber from the trees. You're standing by his side, red drops burning down your face. You're real close now, baby. Holy fuck, I feel it with you. I lose self-control. Now I found that you're not one to hear me now. You got me on my knees begging for your lady. And like a fool to stand around and let you blame me. And I'm riding in the sky to the heavens like an
Hi, my name is Leo Connors, and welcome to The Ring and All Other Sports. Tonight, I got a very special guest and a special co-host. My guest, John Cena Sr., also known as Johnny Fabulous.
It's an honor. Thanks, Leo.
Thank you. And Dave Fournier, a good friend of the show.
Welcome, John.
And
Leo,
myself.
thanks for having me back. It's been a while.
Yes, it has been a while. Probably the longest you've gone.
It probably. There was a while there I was here like 5 weeks in a row.
Yeah, it's crazy. And you even hosted one when I couldn't come.
Yes. And Osiris is still mad at you for that.
I know he is. All right. Who's your favorite wrestler? I had to open with that one.
Wow. Okay, I'll tell you. Bruno Sammartino.
Excellent. All right. Now, I should ask this question this way first, okay? Andy Miller, what are your thoughts on your son recently turning heel?
Oh, I'm shocked that question came
Yeah,
up.
me too. That's why I figured I'd do it right away. You know what I mean? And I know you didn't like Bill after asking you that question. So I apologize.
You know, I'm trying to keep my cool.
Yeah.
I'm trying to be a nice guy.
Yeah.
My son turned heel. Nobody was going to happen, including me. It's a beautiful storyline.
It is.
I think it's the best shock the wrestling world has seen in quite a while. So my thought is, it's a storyline.
Right.
Let's see how it plays out. Let's give it a chance.
Right.
You know, do I like it? Do I not like it? I'm a wrestling fan as well as being in the business.
Right.
I think it's great for business.
I do
So
too.
let's just keep moving and see what happens.
Nice. I like that answer. All right. Richard Knight, also known as Reggie. It was such a pleasure to meet Mr. Cena Sr. I've got a question to put over Larry Huntley. Tell us about your experiences working with Cousin Larry in the Portland area. Got any fond memories about meeting and working with the young up-and-comers in Maine? Love, Reggie.
Wow.
Reggie.
Wow. You see what I'm saying? Yeah, Cousin Larry. What a great guy to work for. Little different sometimes,
Yeah.
little different, but he puts on a great show, a family show. Tony Allison was up there. We've had some great stuff. Sonny was the first time I went up there. The first time I went up there was for he and Sonny. Well, I think I drove 2 hours and 25 minutes.
Wow.
And I was saying to Dave, there was maybe 15, 20 people. What a great time. Larry puts on a great show. Larry's a great guy. There are a lot of great young wrestlers up in Maine who do not have the opportunity, I guess, to come down this way
Right.
and be showcased. I wish they could. Some great young men and women up
Yes.
there.
And Randy Carver is killing it with Limitless Wrestling. I mean,
Yep.
I think just the great part about Larry is he likes the underdogs. He likes to give them a chance that maybe normally somebody wouldn't give a chance to. And Larry's the first one to always do that for people.
Yeah, there's some great talent up there. Some real good talent.
and I met Larry like over 20 years ago when he was working for Lobster Man, Jeff. All right, Freddie Risa. How long have you been in the wrestling business?
I don't know, 15, 16 years.
Yeah. Okay. Steve Lambert. Are we going to the Kowloon after the show? I don't think you're going anywhere, Steve.
What show? Where?
This show.
Oh, you know what? It's a long ride.
Yeah, it is.
And that's my favorite place.
It's
I
awesome.
say to everybody, get there before the big one goes.
Yeah.
There'll be a small one, 500 seats. The Kowloon will always be there, but it will not be the same.
Now, when are they going to the smaller one? I thought they would have. I thought they were already going to have done it.
No,
Seriously.
I have no inside track at all. All I know is people keep saying it's going to go, it's going to go. I understand that they'll build a one next to it, the big one, so that there's no loss in time for the employees.
Right.
The big one will come down, the new one will go up, and they'll just go back.
Is my understanding it's going to be attached to the apartment building that they're going to eventually build there?
That's what I heard. That's what I heard. I see again. Everybody thinks they have an inside track.
All right, Nate Grist. How did you get involved in the whoopie pie business, selling whoopie pies? I love whoopie pies.
I probably have one of the best whoopie pies in the market. We have probably right now 28 flavors.
Nice.
We're going to try to do a holy cannoli or a cannoli whoopie pie. Happy birthday, baby. I've got a few others in the works. They're baked for me by a young man up in Maine. His name is Brian. His company is Would You Want Another? All the whoopie pies I sell are half pounds, 8 ounces.
big. Yeah,
8
yeah.
ounces. You can get 4, which I do sometimes. I get involved in that because as you know, I sell a lot of my games and antiques up at Beaumar, up in Wells, Maine. So I went in and she had whoopie pies. And I said, $4.99. Wow, let me try this. I was hooked. And so I sell my own cigars, my pop and whatever. And I said, you think you'd do whoopie pies for me? Here's his number, call him.
Wow.
I think I've sold probably to date maybe over 800 whoopie pies.
Wow. Nice.
They're real good. They're real good.
Nice. My mom used to make really good whoopie pies. All right. Brendan McKenzie, you have worked with a lot of great talent in New England. Is there anyone manager-wise that was an inspiration to you? Thanks, Mr. Cena. Thank you, Brendan.
He's talking on the larger level, not the indie level.
Right.
So I would say yes. I would say people that influenced me were people like the Grand Wizard,
Right.
Captain Louis Albano, Bobby the Brain Heenan. These and one of the all-time greats right now, Paul Heyman. Yeah. Because he was doing ECW then. But the older guys that I used to watch tape after tape after tape and try to understand what this job is all about,
Right.
and how to do it and how to do it right. And even today, I'll still ask people, what do you think? Was it okay? Did it look good? But those people, the Grand Wizard, Lou Albano, Bobby the Brain Heenan, those guys were very, very influential in the business and did have a lot to do with what I do.
Nice. Well, similar right there. Mount Rushmore managers for you.
Well, obviously, you'd have to put Bobby the Brain Heenan
Right.
there. The second guy you'd have to put up there, definitely, without a doubt, often imitated but never duplicated, Captain Lou Albano. Great, great person. I think the guy that really started it all from insurance to wrestling, you got to have the Grand Wizard.
Yeah.
There's no way you can get
Ernie
away.
Roth.
Yeah, you can't do it. You've got to do it. What do you want up there?
Classy Freddie Blassie.
There you go. Just took the words out of my mouth.
You know,
Mr. File
one of
my
my-
teeth.
He was one of
Yep.
my favorites and just great on the mic.
Yeah. Cool. Yeah.
Yeah, I'd go with all those guys too. But I like Cornette. I like Paul Heyman.
Gary
You know?
Hart, I was one of my favorites.
Gary
I thought he was
Hart, that's
very
another
underrated.
Gary Hart's
Yeah.
another one.
Yeah.
Yep.
All right. Kenny Lockhart. You know Kenny.
I do.
Thanks for the question, Kenny. I'd love to see you have a debate with HD3 on New England Wrestling, on Leo's show, on here. What do you think of HD3, by the way? You know who that is, right?
No.
Howard Davis.
Howardson Davidson
Howardson
III.
Davis
The
III. He managed Alec Price. Who else?
I know he worked with Pat Dillon. I only seen him on
He's
a couple
really
of shows.
tall.
but-
Real tall.
Oh,
thin
his
guy.
skinny
father,
guy.
God rest his soul, owned a bakery.
Okay.
Yes. He's the guy that the first show I did with him, his dad had a little concession over there, the best bakery products you could have ever asked for. God rest his soul.
Right.
And I was going to do an attitude adjustment. And his father came over and said to me, please don't, he's got a bad back. And I said, okay. so I wasn't going to do it. He came over and he begged and begged and begged. He worked for, now the new owner, worked for Pat Dillon. He does commentary.
Yes.
He was a manager at that point. Anytime, anywhere, any place, if you're out there, skinhead, skinny little scarecrow that you are, the guy that tries to knock everybody down, why don't you come over? If you want some, come get somebody right here, Leo's show, anytime.
Let's do it.
I think Leo would gladly host it.
Yeah. What do you
You're right
think?
here,
Yeah?
Dave. You're going to be right
Oh,
there,
Dave
too.
will be here. Of course he will. I
And
love
you know
Dave.
what, Skinny? I'll buy the pizza.
Oh, here we go. Thank you. Thanks,
Now I'm
Kenny.
convinced. Pizza, I'll be here.
There you go.
Nashville's got some good pizza places, too. Phil Leary.
Phil
Ask
Leary.
him who holds the record for the fastest Naruto sushi eaten at Kowloon. So it's telling me it's either Phil or you.
No, it's not I. What happened was we had just come back from a show. Phil used to help and drive.
Okay.
And very, very bad to drive with Phil Leary because it's either rain, snow, sleet, hail, tornado. I said, Phil, I'll drive from now on. No more. So we decided to go to the Kowloon, my favorite spot to get food. And thank you to the Wongs, Andy, Bobby, great. So I order General Gao, some lo mein. Phil said, I never had this. I'll try this Naruto sushi. Now the table's getting full. So they bring the Naruto sushi. I picked the menu up to get one more item. I put the menu down, total time. Had to be 4.5 seconds, the sushi's gone.
Wow.
6 pieces of sushi devoured by Phil the Seagull Leary.
All right, he has another one. I don't know if this is a question. John Cena Sr. is a great guy. I'm honored to be his friend. He has done great things for lots of people, including me and my family. He is one of the great ones. Thank you, Phil. All right, Tracy Lugo Bills. Used to see him all over, now not so much. Those Don Cenas. Not even a question. Now, here's the one I told you about. J.P. Griffin. Is it true that he assisted Abe Ford promoting wrestling in Boston before Vince McMahon did? If so, what was that experience like?
Well, I think you got it all backwards. I helped. So if you were going to do a show, posters, banners, collect the cash, make sure it went off. That's really the extent of it. When you talk about promotion like Vince McMahon, there's no way. Abe Ford was one of the greatest promoters in the Boston area.
Right.
Nobody could compete with him.
Nice.
Nope. So I was just kind of like a gopher.
Okay, excellent. Matthew Poisset. Poisset, what is the craziest thing you've ever seen in your wrestling career?
Jeez. Sorry.
I guess that's one for Dave. What do you got,
Wow.
Dave?
I mean, there's a million things you could see.
You got one?
We'll leave it for him. Let him in. He's the
No,
guest.
go ahead. I mean, when you say craziest, I mean, there's a lot of things that happened out there.
Well, what would be the one thing that shocked you the most? Like,
There you go.
I think these young guys trying to do the ladder matches where they're on a ring, up 16 feet in the air, and they fall onto concrete or lawn. You know what? You can't fix stupid.
Right.
I guess that really shocked me. Everything else that happens in pro wrestling, I guess one of the things that really bothered me that kind of shocked me too was I was managing Dijak, and there was supposed to be a squash match.
Okay.
Dijak had never been taken off his feet. I was totally taken off. Very surprised at this.
Right.
This guy all of a sudden takes him off his feet. He's down at his knees. I'm going, wow, the character's just been destroyed. I go on the back, and I guess I'm letting a little bit out of the bag here, but I said, what was this all about? And the other opponent said, I had to get my shine. You see, so that's another surprise. That's awkward. As much as these kids going up in these ladders, and they go, I want to get in the big time. There'll be nothing left to your body.
Right.
It just isn't going to happen. I guess the other thing that was shocked me, I don't know if it was a work or a shoot, was when the widow Belmont was stripped in the ring by the honeybees.
Oh, wow.
Do you remember that?
I don't
No,
remember
I
that.
don't either.
That was kind of like, all right, I'm really seeing this, right? I'm really seeing this.
Wow.
And they just kind of ran in and was kind of ripped to high, and I think that's the last time they were at APW.
I don't even know who the honeybees were.
You know, he's here. Please, his name, Green.
Anthony Green.
Anthony Green,
Okay.
one of the best.
Oh, yeah.
Anthony Saluto, my friend. I remember that young kid was a referee.
Yep.
I was wrestling down the western part, down that way in New Bedford area. He was a referee and skinny, scrawny little kid.
Yeah.
And he said, I'm going to be a pro wrestler. I said, don't lose that thought, right? Because I was joking.
Right.
But he certainly taught me a lesson. This kid is one of the greatest.
Yep.
What a great professional wrestler. He understands the business. He knows how to do it and do it right.
You know, not to interrupt, but
No, go
I
ahead.
remember Anthony. I met him back
When
probably
he was a fan.
20 years
That's
ago when
the
he was a
first time I
fan.
met him.
And we were at a show, and Hacksaw Jim Duggan helped him on the show and didn't have a 2x4. And Anthony, of all people, who was a fan at the time, probably 16 years old at the time, maybe even younger than that, went to whoever his car he came with and brought in a 2x4 for Hacksaw Jim Duggan to use at the show.
See? That surprised you.
Yeah, that was.
There you go.
And if I can tell you, the biggest shocker
Yeah.
to me was, I won't name names, I won't, but there was a show in Maine, probably going back to 2003 maybe. I was helping out Larry and Sonny at the time, Dr. Harrisay, and this guy decided to run a first show up in Maine. You get to the show, he promises catering in the email, even to the people that set up the ring. You get
Catering?
there, he promised catering. Well, you get there, he had 2 trays of finger sandwiches, and then he hands even the ring crew people this 4 pages written on paper, just like Leo has
Yeah.
there, which was the script for the 4 hours of TV tapings he was doing. Yet he didn't have a TV station for the show yet. It was probably like, and I've seen a lot, but that just was probably the one. And the guy, if he watches this, he'll know who he is, and he'll probably be mad and emailing me again for talking about it like he did 20 years
Well,
ago.
you didn't
but-
disclose anything.
No.
There
I
are a
didn't say
lot of
any names.
promoters out there that promise catering.
Yep.
Then you get mackerel and mustard, you get water and bread, you get nothing. You got nothing. So it could be anybody you're talking
And I give him an A for effort, for trying,
Yeah,
but
well.
but it was just,
A's are not nice.
it was, yeah.
I got to say this, though. I really don't believe there's anybody that loves wrestling more than Anthony Green. There may be people that love it as much, but definitely not more.
Dedicated.
That loves wrestling.
He's dedicated. Let me tell you, dedicated.
And you know what blew me away is when he got signed to the WWE, literally, he was on TV immediately.
Yeah.
And that's what kind of threw me when they released him. I'm like, how do you release a guy that you threw on TV right away? I don't understand.
Perhaps there was nothing for him.
Maybe,
Perhaps
yeah.
the gimmick wasn't what they wanted. And I say this and mean this, it's always an honor when I'm allowed to work with Anthony Green.
No doubt.
And I've done that. He usually the heel, my guys are the face or
Yep.
the women. He's just such a great guy.
He really is. All right. Matthew has some more. I was there in Attleboro for Gary Gold versus Joel Davis when he used the baby carriage, which has to rank up there as being one of the craziest things he's seen. Also, do you have any thoughts on Joel's new job in stand-up comedy?
Let's put it this way. All I remember is this. You know, professional wrestling is entertainment. It's athleticism, but it's entertainment. So we go over this. Remember now, it's entertainment, basically. Nobody's going to get, good. Next thing I know, I'm managing Gary Gold. I see a baby carriage get thrown in the ring. And the next thing I know, Gary Gold is laying down. He can't breathe. He's choking. This is the God's truth. The medics come out, and a little shot kid this guy was. And the medic came out. We got him okay. And Gary said, I'm going to kill him.
Oh, Joel?
Well, he's going to beat him up.
Yeah.
Just going to beat him up. And I said, Gary, it's not worth it. It just isn't worth it. And that kid, I'm sure that's the one. You like MMA was this? Yeah. And so we finished the match, and he goes to the back. And the next thing that happens is I go to the back. He's not there. He packed his stuff and left.
Really?
Yeah, not a good thing. Not a good thing. Yeah.
Can I tell you a Joel Davis story that you may not know? But
for it.
when Dan Marotti had his very first ever show at Wonderland Park, Joel Davis wrestled El Mascarado in the opening match of the show.
Is that me ringing?
No, I don't think
No,
so.
I don't think so.
Well, I can hear it in my hearing aids. All right.
During the match,
Probably the Pope.
Joel Davis is being the heel because El Mascarado is the babyface.
Yeah. Oh, Bert.
Yeah,
Of course. Yeah.
During the match, Joel, when he came out to the ring, he threw, as he used to do this gamble, he came out to the gambler and he'd throw playing cards to the fans. Well, he threw it and it hit the kid in the face. So when all of a sudden later on he's out there wrestling, the kid takes the card and throws it back. Joel Davis literally walked out of the match and went to the back and refused to come back because the kid threw the card at him. And it was like a 6-year-old
After
kid.
he threw a card.
Yeah, he threw the card, so the kid was just, in his mind, he was just throwing it back at him. And it was a playing card. Like, it didn't.
But he was throwing real punches and stuff. It's just, and there's nothing wrong with that. But you know what? It's a good thing I let Gary Gold stop,
Right.
Because it would have been a real shoot. And I'm going to tell you right now, you can say Gary Gold, whatever you want. That kid would have been down for the 3 count.
Oh, yeah.
Well, he's already threatened you, and he threatened me.
Yeah, last time when I told another story about him,
Yeah.
he started threatening me online afterwards.
Yeah.
And he's doing stand-up comedy now?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, then you know what? A joker is good for telling a joke. How's that?
I mean,
Very
I don't tell any
true.
stories that I will never tell a story that isn't fact. Like,
Right.
Well, I was there, so I can tell you what I saw.
So,
That was with Showcase Pro Wrestling.
yes, that
Chris
Chris.
Blackheart.
Yeah,
Blackheart,
Blackheart.
yes.
Yeah, I'm actually going to have those guys on, all 3 of them.
oh, nice.
Blackheart, Bedondi, and Don Vega.
Well, Bedondi, gonna have some fun, Mr. Bedondi.
Listen, I was on their podcast. It was so much fun. Those guys are really cool guys. I love Don Vega.
He's a great guy.
Yeah, he
Keep
is.
Dan Badani on the wrestling subject. That's all I'm going to say.
Right. So, were you lucky enough to meet Don Vega's dad? Because
I did.
everybody, I know
Yes.
you have.
One of the greatest guys around.
Yeah, that's what everybody says.
Every show, he would bring his father. Every time he would come in, Pop and I would chat.
Yeah.
We'd always chat. And his thing was, so, I'm not feeling good today, but there's another day. What a wonderful, warm human being. And, what a loss.
Yeah.
What a loss. But yes, I'm very honored to say I did have the opportunity to meet his father.
Any
Great
memories
guy.
from you?
Oh, he was always, every time I see him at a show, he'd come over and say hello.
Yeah.
He used to laugh because I call him Papa Vega, which obviously wasn't, the real last name. And he would just laugh at it every time. But he was always such a nice guy. And when it happened, it was so sad that, you'd see Don at shows without him because you were just used to the 2 of them being there. And he just
That was hard.
always had a positive attitude. The guy, he was always
Very.
there,
I had a very similar interaction with John Walter's dad when I was catering
Another
for Ring
great
of
guy.
Honor. He would be at the show, and I'd literally have to come on. I'd have to make him eat because that's for the boys. No, it's for you too.
Yeah.
Really
He had
nice
a pizza
guy.
shop, John's father.
Yeah, nice guy. Speaking of pizza place, you guys heard Stiff Mike owns a pizza place in Manchester.
Where?
Mario's, I guess. I guess he kept the name
It's a
of
franchise?
the place. No, I don't think just one pizza place. Mike, Stiff Mike bought it. I have to get up there. And
Have to
I
try
have
it.
to.
Yeah, absolutely.
Give him a plug. No, we all ought to go up there.
Mario's in Manchester, guys. Go in and tell him Leo sent you.
All right, I'll go up. Now, so he's still in the business.
Yeah.
He doesn't have the wrestling tool, I know that.
Right.
So, but he's still with APW. He does stuff down there. Great guy.
He is a great guy.
When they say Stiff Mike, I remember the first time I worked with him.
Yeah.
He tied my tie to the turnbuckle, and tough. And I'm supposed, because it was a dog food match, and if I lost, I'd eat dog food. It was working freight train, and or vice versa. I was the heel, and I get up in the ring. Now remember, I had never gone in the ring the hard way, never. All of a sudden, this guy is charging at me, grabs the ropes, and next thing I know, I felt like Superman. I'm flying, and I go, but shit. I've got to come back down. How do I do this?
Right.
And all I remember is back slap out, and I God was with me. And then he's got a baseball bat. And I got to tell you something. Stiff Mike is called Stiff Mike for a reason.
Yeah.
Great guy. You can learn so much from him.
Yeah.
But I'm going to try his pizza. I didn't know he had a pizza
Me too.
store.
I got to get up.
definitely.
Maria wants to
Mario's
go
in
too.
Manchester.
Mario's in Manchester. Yep. He's a great guy. He used to be mean to a lot of people when he was younger, but he'll be the first to admit it. You know what I mean? But Mike,
Great guy.
I love him.
If you
I
met him
really
20
do.
years ago, you probably wouldn't really be saying as nice
No,
things as
you're
you're
right,
now.
you're right.
But
We
that's
all
nothing
change.
against him. He was young and
Right.
and super guy. Even then, I liked him. It was just he would have his moments that he
Yeah.
would take people the wrong way. And
We all have skeletons in our closet.
of course, we all do.
Absolutely. Dave, you want to ask some questions, bud?
So I know you. We were actually talking about this before the show. You started working for a company called RWA, I believe you said, or RCW. Is that what it's called over there?
Is that T Phoenix?
You just told me. You would tell me they have a show coming up in Portsmouth.
Oh, Royal Crown
Royal Crown.
Wrestling.
RCW,
Yes.
yes.
Okay.
Yes.
That's one of the newer companies.
Yes, Royal Crown Wrestling. What a nice company, nice promoter. Don Vega is the booker.
Okay.
The shows are well put together. They're high quality stuff. A lot of guys in from New York and ladies. We just did Marblehead.
Yeah.
Was sold out, 120 people. Couldn't get a seat because Marblehead is small and so was the venue.
Right.
This one's going to be up in Portsmouth on Rains, I think. Rains Ave in Portsmouth. But what a great show this guy puts on. If you get a chance, catch it.
Absolutely. There's a bunch of new companies that have popped up in the last couple of years. Focus, Pro Wrestling, Rebel Spirit, which I think is an offshoot of WFA.
Okay, I don't even know them.
So that's what I've heard. But yeah, WFA's been killing it. Now, what do you think about the WWE ID program? You know about that, right?
No.
It's where they're taking local kids, signing them to a little bit of a contract, and then putting them all on one show. Like the WFA had a show, and they used, almost everyone that was been ID'd.
So it's pretty neat. It sounds like a great way to get your talent. So what they're doing is it's no more scouting, although it really is.
Yes.
Through a WWID program. Oh, you got a great promotion, Leo. How about we bring up 10 of your guys? We're going to put a show together. Okay, let's sit here and see which one's good, which one's bad. Yeah, that's a great idea. No, I'm not familiar with it. I'm glad you mentioned it.
You got some great people in it.
Yeah, Mike Hollow and Scott Reed, they picked that school.
Yeah,
to be the
that's
one
what they
from
did is
around
WWE
here.
kind of picked different promotions around the country
Right.
that they want this program full, and then found certain wrestlers that work for these promotions. That
Yes.
they put,
Let me tell you, Mike
willing to put
Hollow,
their name
you
on.
couldn't ask for a better professional to do it. I got to tell you, one promotion lost out without that guy. I'm going to tell you right now. That man has so much knowledge, and he does it the right way. Sometimes it's hard, sometimes it's easy, but he's the best at what he does.
Yeah.
I mean, he brings the knowledge with him. I mean, he worked for WWE on their ring crew for
Before he was a wrestler.
He went
So I was
you
going to
know,
bring that up.
He trained under Killer Kowalski. He was a trainer for Killer Kowalski.
Yeah.
I mean, how can you find anybody better? Like, not giving anything against anybody else that trains out there.
Yeah,
but
if they're using his school, that's the beginning right there.
And you know who told him that, why aren't you wrestling? Mr. Fuji was the one telling him, why, you're a big guy, Mike. Why aren't you wrestling? And sure enough, he went and got trained.
And he got,
Yeah. And he is a great guy, great trainer, footwork, everything.
great human being.
Last Tuesday night on NXT, all of a sudden I'm sitting there at home watching it, and it pops up Brad Baylor and Ricky Smokes sitting in the crowd. Now, do you happen to know those two young guys? Two incredible wrestlers. Brad Baylor was trained by, I think, Paul Roma, and Ricky Smokes down at the New England Pro Wrestling Academy. But then, all of a sudden, they popped up again backstage talking to the tag team champs, Fraxium. I think that's what they're
I
called.
think so, yeah.
But they're supposed to have a match tomorrow night.
Wonderful.
So they're giving these ID guys not only the rub on the shows, but getting them on TV as well and giving them that chance.
And they're a really, really good team. I seen them work at Beyond. And I'm telling you, man, those guys can work.
That's awesome.
Ricky Smokes a little bit older. I want to say Brad Baylor's only 20 years old.
That's a good start. But see, look at the wrestlers now. They wouldn't look at you if you were 40.
Right.
Guess what?
Right.
Look at AJ Styles.
Yeah.
Look at what Orange Cassidy.
Yeah.
They're all in their 40s now.
Yeah.
It's like, what do you do?
I was never more happy though when AJ popped up in the Royal Rumble, the number 3. I was like, what? Because I didn't even know. Like a lot of times you hear, but I didn't hear anything about it. And then all of a sudden here he comes out. I was flipping out because AJ's just a great guy.
It's not age that stops you from being in this business. And people keep saying to me, why is your son leaving? Why is your son leaving? I really don't know. I really don't. Other than he said to me, Dad, I'm going to retire.
Yeah.
But isn't it better to go, in my opinion, it's better to go out now than go out 10 years from now when he might not be the same John Cena anymore?
Well, that's a good answer, but I think the answer in my book is, you know what? Personally, I'm going to use me. If I were he, I don't think my body can take this anymore. That's a smart time to get out of this business because a lot of people stay in it and they brutalize their bodies. And believe me, in my tenure, I've worked with enough of the people to see them not be able to walk correctly, not be able to stay because they wanted to stay in it longer. You know what? there is life after pro wrestling. And,
Yes.
And again, I'm just going to say this because a lot of the fans say to me, your kid's going to be like everybody else. He says he's never coming back, never be in the ring again. Don't worry. Next year, I said, stop.
Right.
Let me tell you right now, nobody knows my son better than I. His wife probably or his mother, but I'm going to tell you, you will never see that kid
I believe
in a
that.
wrestling ring again. Will he be back with professional wrestling? He never said he's done for life with professional wrestling. I think he'd like to be a mentor, maybe work as an ambassador,
Yep.
maybe help train at NXT. But as far as putting on the jorts, getting in the ring, refereeing,
Right.
ain't happening.
Right. And I'll be honest with you, like you said, how he's setting himself up to leave. In my opinion, Ric Flair was the greatest wrestler, in my opinion, for years and years. And then he stuck around too long, in my opinion. And I started looking at him differently. And he's now no longer, in my opinion, one of the greatest wrestlers of all time. And he really is, though, back in his body of work when he would go and he'd be a heel in Dallas and he'd be a face in Portland. He could do it all.
I mean, I get the money, I guess, is probably a deciding factor for a lot of people,
Well,
but
he lived out.
he could have went out with that match with Shawn Michaels. The WWF gave him that great setup. You know,
That
WWE
was a
gave him that
great
great send off,
match, too.
and then he kind of ruined that whole thing by coming back multiple
Yeah.
times.
You
know,
see-
and then even doing that one last match a year ago that was not,
Oh, against Austin Theory.
was not good. And now he's talking about coming back again. You know,
Well, Conrad got him involved in that match.
Yeah.
And the whole thing was, you know what? Never should have been done.
Right.
I love Rick. Rick is a tremendous guy. I've had the opportunity to work with him several times. Tremendous human being. But you know what happens is you burn yourself out and your fans along with
Right.
you.
Right.
And that's the problem with this business.
Yeah.
You know what? So many times I've worked with promotions. We had a tag team match going. Bret Hart was there, and it was the tag team was out there, and we're waiting. It's supposed to be a 12-minute time limit. 17 and a half minutes later, somebody goes out and says, it's time to go home.
Right.
The answer when they came back out was, we had them. We had them. We had to do our stuff, but we had them. They were here? No.
Right.
No, you lost them.
Yeah.
You lost them. And that's what they don't teach in the wrestling schools today. You know, you got to be able to read your crowd.
Yep.
And most of these guys go, well, Dave, it's a 10-minute match. We can't go home in 8. You better go home in 8 because you got no crowd.
Yeah.
Right.
You know, so, but that was terrible. And I think if more people would look at it and say, you know, I'm good for so long. Because, you know, people say to me, well, 48's young. Your son probably has 10 more years left.
Right.
And the persona, you can always repackage it by taking it away and then bringing it back. Notice how it was when he wasn't on TV and then they brought him back?
Yeah.
Wow, whole
Right.
different ball game. But the key to whole thing, in my opinion, how much more can this take?
Right.
That's the answer. And if I think that might be one of the reasons why he's getting out.
Well, he's obviously one of the greatest talkers of all time. And those heel promos that he's been putting out there, unreal. Seriously.
Let's see if he wins at WrestleMania 41.
I hope so, to be honest with you.
I think
I
he's-
really
I think
do. I think, you know, and I understand why they want to, you know, make John with the 17th time. Because Ric Flair wasn't always a WWE guy, and John was. They strapped that company on his back, and he took off and ran with it for 2 decades.
let me ask you this. I know we were talking briefly about this before the show, but do you think John goes out as a babyface? Like, do you think at some point before the end of this run this year that he goes back to being a babyface and finishes his run that way?
I hope so, to be honest with you. I really do.
I would think if he's going to wrap it up, he'll wrap it up as a face.
Right.
But then you know what? What's the best thing about professional wrestling?
Yeah.
It's called the swerve.
Yeah.
Because if at Elimination
Absolutely.
Chamber, I'm sitting there, I'm watching, and I'm going, okay, here's how they wrote this. Cody Rhodes has told my friend Dwayne Johnson to go F himself. And now
That was unbelievable. I couldn't believe that.
that never had to be said. You can say a lot of things, but that never had to be
Right.
said that way. And then Cena's yes, he's going to embrace him. The swerve is coming because Cody Rhodes is going to turn heel and kick the living stuffing out of John Cena. And what tipped me off, and I never knew this was going to happen, what tipped me off, I can't tell you how many times I've seen that look in his
So,
face.
I was just
for
gonna
real.
say, yeah.
Like, numbers up, you are dead. Dwayne Johnson, The Rock, never had to, and he didn't even do it the right way.
No, it was the worst thing I've ever seen for the.
If that's how you slice people's throat, they're going to live for a long time, Dwayne.
Yes.
But he didn't need him. He
No.
didn't need to do that.
Right.
It was set up so well. Cody sold it well. Cena sold it well. It just went over well. The question is where it goes from here. No, I don't think he'll be a heel when he retires. But then again, it's called a swerve.
Yes. And I'll tell you, right, when Cody Rhodes was in the WWE before he left and, went on a nice independent run, that guy, in my opinion, for me at least, I didn't want to see him anymore. I really didn't. Not that he's not a good wrestler or anything. They weren't doing anything with him. That Stardust thing just wasn't working.
Horrible.
And then when he came back, though, as the star, the American Nightmare, I mean, seriously, he's been killing it. He really has. And you had just mentioned maybe him turning heel. I think that's going to happen probably sooner than people think.
We'll see. But, Cody Rhodes, if you remember when I was getting my ass kicked by Randy Orton, who's the one that came down to the ring to try to save me?
Right.
Cody Rhodes.
Yeah.
I never forgot that. But we'll see what happens here. It's a very interesting storyline. Very, very interesting. The one thing I hope, and I'll probably get kicked in the shins, you know what? Travis Scott's a great guy,
Yeah.
but he doesn't belong in a ring.
Right.
You can't train somebody overnight. If you could, there'd be a lot of good wrestlers out there. But that slap that he gave to Rhodes,
Right.
I've been slapped in the face that way, and your ear just goes
Yeah.
bong. You don't get a black eye
Right.
and a bad ear. So let's see what happens at 41. Let's just see. I'm interested to see how it plays out.
Yeah, me too.
Speaking of 41, will you be in Las Vegas for John's match? At
Yeah.
41?
I will not.
No. Okay.
I will not.
Tickets are
Well,
expensive.
that's a whole another controversy going on.
I
right
couldn't
now with
believe,
that.
what was it, like
With
$3,000
and I
for
don't- I
ringside
think it's
seats?
because the UFC side of it is kind of thinking, let's charge those prices, and it's
Right.
But remember now, that's $3,000 through WWE.
Right.
If you look at the scalpers prices, anywhere between $15,000 and $22,000.
Yeah. And you're talking per night. You're not talking now.
Right,
there's two
right.
nights.
Yeah.
Right. And
Wow.
we'll see. And there is now, they're worried because tickets are not moving.
Right, that's what I've heard. Now, Dusty Rhodes was one of my favorite wrestlers growing up as a kid. And I really only, at first, the first time I ever saw him was in the magazines. And then in like 75, 76, or 77, one of those years, all of a sudden he was coming on TV and I was flipping out. You know what I mean? Because I'd never seen him before. Did you ever get to meet Dusty?
I did. Dusty Rhodes was a true gentleman. He knew the sport. And again, a down-to-earth human being. And the story I always tell about Dusty Rhodes was I was, that night, going to get kicked in the head by Randy Orton. And Dusty and I are sitting, because as you know, Arn Anderson was producing that with me.
Okay.
So we're watching the other matches, and I'm standing there, and he looked at me and he said, "Tho, you look like you got a little bit of a problem, my boy." I said, "Dusty, Mr. Rhodes, I'm real worried about getting kicked in the head by Randy." "Son, don't be worried about nothing," he said. "I've been taking that kick from that boy a long time. You ain't gonna feel nothing. It's gonna be good. It's gonna be good." Now,
That was a good impersonation.
let me tell you something. All I remember was over the rail, and I was a football for the Patriots. And we had some great chats. I didn't see him a lot, maybe 3 or 4 times.
Right.
But I can only say this: both the Rhodes people, family, very lucky to have this man as a father.
Right.
Very, very lucky. A great human being, a tremendous love for the business. What more can I say? It reflects in, I guess I'll say it reflects in both Cody and Dustin.
Yes, absolutely. Dustin was one of my Goldust was one of my favorite characters of wrestling, because what drew me to wrestling was the people that you wouldn't see walking down the street. The Wolfman, George the Animal Steel,
Yep.
masked guys. That's what drew me into professional wrestling.
Well-
And Goldust killed it, man. He was really good at that.
As
role.
Triple H would say every time he would come to look at people, he'd say, "Hey, great, you can do Huniconradas, you can do." Tell me, what makes you different from the rest of these people? What's the gimmick? What's the game?
Right.
See, that's what these kids are not understanding. Anybody can do Hunican Radas.
Yeah.
Anybody can bounce off the ropes. What's the gimmick? What do you do? Who are you? You know, and they don't get it. They
Right.
just don't get it. But they will.
Yep.
Do you think, John,
yeah.
and I'm sorry, this is just thinking as we're
Yeah.
talking WWE here, there's been a lot of talk, rumors. Do you think Vince McMahon is going to start a competing promotion?
I don't know. I have no idea. If I were to guess, if he was to do something in entertainment, I don't think it would be wrestling. I have no
Okay.
idea. I don't know. I really don't know. I
Okay.
don't know the answer to that.
We were just talking about Dusty, and I'll say the two deaths in wrestling that really hit me the most was Dusty and Roddy Piper. You know, like I felt that because I loved them both so much. Any particular guys that for you?
I had the honor to work with Roddy Piper. I did 4 shows with him.
Wow.
I can remember that you always learn a lesson. So here I am. I'm out in the middle of the ring ragging on Piper, and he's signing autographs. I get to the back, and Spike Dudley said to me, "You are a jerk." I said, "What did I do, man? Here, you don't rag on somebody when they're not able to respond," and he was out signing autographs. So now, obviously, I'm the heel.
Right.
So Piper's the good guy. He's coming this way. I'm going to the ring, and he was good on the stick. We're going back and forth in the middle, but this time it was he and I said, "You got to slap me in the face." He goes, "No, man, no." I said, "You got to slap me in the face." That's how I learned about slaps not being where they should be sometimes.
Right.
He just, when I tell you, bang, and I went down. It was good, but we came in the back, and they said, "You okay?" I said, "I think I hear the bells of Notre Dame." He was another great, honest, down to earth, no bullshit,
Right.
no flies guy. What an honor! I had the opportunity and the honor to work with his daughter.
Oh, really?
Yep, I did.
Teal, right?
Yeah,
I think it's
yeah,
Teal,
yeah,
yeah.
I was inducted into the Wrestling Hall of Fame in New York by this group, and she was there. She also was inducted. What a wonderful person. You know, there will only ever be one Roddy Piper.
No doubt. No doubt. Just when you think you got all the answers, I change the question.
That's right.
I'll never forget
Good
that.
man. Good
Never.
man.
Great guy.
Good man.
You know what else I'd never forget either? Ernie Ladd with Mr. TV announcer.
Oh, yeah.
He was incredible.
Yeah.
Yeah, he was
big
great
cat.
wrestler. I think what ruined his career is he should have never came back as a commentator in the 80s.
Yeah.
80s
No, I hear you. Ernie was good, though. I mean, what a football player, too.
Yep.
Hell of a football player. All right, let's get into the name game. All right? Matt Storm.
Who's Matt Storm?
You don't know Matt?
Who's Matt
That's
Storm?
probably before you were around.
Yeah? You think so?
He might have been around, but he was part of he did a tag team with the Damned. He worked a lot with Sheldon and PWF,
PWF,
Northeast, yeah,
Northeast.
from Rhode Island.
Kyle Storm, Matt Storm.
I probably would know if I saw him.
right.
But I'm not good at names.
Okay.
Yep.
Well, I know you know this one because you wrestled this guy.
Oh, no.
Mark Sterling.
Mark Sterling. I wrestled him. Great guy. Nice guy. Fun guy.
Yeah.
Yep.
Wasn't he? I think he was just at the New England Fan Fest.
He was. Yes, he
Yeah.
was. Yes, he was.
All right. We talked about this guy off in, and I'm a big fan, and obviously you are too. Chad Epic.
My hat's off to you, brother. We did a match for Brickhouse Baker.
Nice.
Matter of fact,
House of
Brickhouse
Bricks.
is going to have August 17th, I think.
Yeah,
he texted
it's
me.
coming back
I'm
for
gonna
one
be
show at
there,
least.
one show. I'm going down for that. I wouldn't miss it for the world. He did it before, and I had a wedding. I'm a JP.
Okay.
So I couldn't do it. So we're in the ring. It's Baker goes to me and Chad. It's got to be 2-3 minutes. That's it. So we're in there, and I'm going this way, and Chad goes, "It can't be done in 2 or 3 minutes." He said, "I'm going to start clobbering the shit out of you, and then you're going to come back and give me the FU, and we're going." And out of a 2-minute match, 9 minutes.
Chad
He's
is a
great
super
on the
guy, man.
stick.
Yes, he is.
He's got a great mind for the business. He's got his hot sauce, I think.
Yep, he does.
I don't know what else he's selling. Don't sit too close because he'll sell you.
He'll try.
He will try, that's for sure.
He's got his gold cane. I know he does Santa Claus.
Yep.
What a great guy.
Saving dogs now too.
What a
dog
great,
rescuing.
good
One
human
of the
being.
smartest guys. He goes with his own merchandise to shows.
He's awesome. I
He'll do
love
whatever
Chad.
they need. And I mean, look, we saw him in New York. He was helping out.
Bring
Yes.
his daughter with him all the time.
Yeah.
His little girl. And I don't know if he has a girlfriend. I thought that was who was with him. But what a great, great person. I have nothing bad to say about Chad Epic at all.
Nice. I like to hear that. All right. How about the masshole Mike McCarthy?
I love that guy.
Me too.
I love that guy. I love that guy. And, I did a lot of shows with him at APW. Why they stopped using him, I have no idea.
Right.
But he is another human being who is down to earth, knows his stuff, and is one of the, I call him ring generals, understands fully what's happening.
Yes. I had him on the show and he was really giving it his all in the wrestling.
He
and
is.
then boom, he was back in the music scene.
Yeah, he's gone.
Just like
Yep.
that. And
Quick.
he was really killing it, man. He really was. And a super guy.
Did the same
kid.
thing back when he first started training back in the early 2000s. He all of a sudden just disappeared and was gone. And
Tommy Knoxville.
Yeah, Tommy Knox. Yep.
Yep. Toxic Tommy Knoxville.
And he
All
was-
right. How about we'll go with the referee, Rich Bass. You know Rich?
I know Rich, yes.
Another good guy.
Yeah, another guy.
Yeah.
Wish he could count to 3, but he's okay.
He is a good guy. All right. We already talked about Brickhouse.
Oh, great guy.
How about David and Devin Baker? His kids.
Oh, yeah. Both those guys are great. I remember we decided, and Brickhouse came up with an idea because it was all with Showcase Pro Wrestling.
Right.
So we came up with an idea that we could sell this match for at least 2 months. Chris Blackheart, never gonna happen. Really? It was Baker and his 2 kids against, it was me, and I forget who the other wrestlers were. At the end, the Bakers had to eat dog food. And it was cool because he bailed on his own kids.
Yeah.
But it was, every time the finish was so perfect, people would be coming back. It was like, the soap opera, you've got to go back and find the end. We actually went 3 months with that.
Wow.
3 months, every place we went. What a great, good brain.
Yeah.
Good
Yeah,
brain.
they're all really
Mike
good.
is awesome.
Yeah, Brickhouse is the man. All right, how about Eugene? He's been putting out
Nick
some
Dinsmore.
really good videos on YouTube recently.
Nick Dinsmore. I was fortunate to do a couple of shows with him. I did a show in Rochester, New York. And so here I am. I'm the heel. He's the face. So and it wasn't supposed to happen this way.
Right.
But I think that Steve Perkins kind of pulled a swerve because all of a sudden the referee goes, "You interfered in the match." Well, the deal was, if my guy lost, Dinsmore got 5 minutes in the ring with me.
Uh-oh.
Well, so here we go. So now he's chasing me around the ring, gets me in a corner, and he's starting to pull. That son of a bitch trying to pull my clothes off. So I said, all right, now he's supposed to pin me.
Right.
So he hits the ropes. I trip him. I put him in the STF. I got him like
Wow.
this. And he's tapping out. And I'm going, I just ruined the finish.
Wow.
But we go in the back and he goes, "You are one crazy bastard." I said, "Yeah, it was a lot of fun, wasn't it?" I said, "But what were you trying to do?" He said, "Take your clothes off." I said, "That's it." He is such a great human being. Nick Dinsmore is, I have enough words to say about you, brother. What a great guy, honest to God.
He was on that show when Vince McMahon showed up too, because Handsome Johnny was supposed to be in that match where Vince came in, but he politicked. He wanted to wrestle Eugene because he didn't know Vince McMahon was coming. If he would have known, I don't think he would have changed.
I remember that when Vince was there. John laid the match out in the back.
Yeah, that's what Brian
Jerry
said.
kissed me. I get thrown out. I'm down. Vince gets in the ring. I'm getting up, and I look, and he's looking down at me. And I said, "What are you doing in my ring?" And he looked down and he said to me, "Whatever I want." I said, "Okay, that's it. Do your thing." And that was really fun. He asked Brian Lawrence, who was face a heel.
Yeah.
And then, of course, John gave him the FU. He made a special trip,
Yeah.
he and his wife, Linda, to make sure they showed up at that show.
That's
and he
awesome.
promised me on the phone when I was doing that, he said, put me on the poster, I'll be there.
Right.
Everybody said, don't put him on the poster because he won't show up.
Right.
Guess what? What a wonderful guy.
Wow, that is pretty awesome.
I have a name, Leo, if I can just
Yeah,
interject
yeah.
here. And I don't know if John knows about the recent controversy with this guy, but PJ Walker, just incredible.
PJ Walker, just incredible. Yes. Just incredible is a great guy. I did a match with him and John Walters. He's the face. So he's famous for the super kick.
Right.
That's right. Yes. So we go over the match, and he goes, Mr. C, I'm gonna hit you with a super kick. All right, okay. He says, now don't worry. It's gonna be good. I've never hit anybody.
Right.
I go to John Walters, I said, not good.
Yeah, it's because he said that.
Not good. So Walters gets pounded. I turn around. Next thing I know, here comes the boot. Boom! Right here. Busted me open. I'm laying down. I'm bleeding. And everybody's coming over. You okay? I'm fine. Don't worry about it. It's all right. Get in the back. And he was like, oh, I'm sorry. I'm sorry. But Justin, PJ, right?
Yes.
Yeah, PJ.
Yeah.
Have you, so you probably haven't seen, have you seen it, Leo?
Yes, I
So
have.
He was recently, Maven has you remember Maven?
do.
He has a YouTube channel, and he actually confronted PJ because there's been some issues with PJ scamming fans for money and so forth. And PJ in the video claims he's not doing it anymore, but never denied doing it. But I hope, for his sake, because he was always a nice guy to me when I met him.
Well, before he even posted it,
know,
they ended up saying that he's already gone back on his word because he had said, that I'm not going to do that anymore. And he was asking people for money, taking money and not sending the merch and stuff like that.
He had a big problem.
Yeah.
A lot of those guys do. Sometimes a demon you can get rid of, and sometimes a demon you get rid of, but then all of a sudden it kind of crawls back into your body. All I'm going to say is this, that what is said is fact. There was a situation with you-know-who. We're going to have him in for 6 or 4 episodes.
Yeah.
Paid up front, showed for 2, and that was it.
Right.
But I don't see people get angry, and I say, no, there's something wrong. He's either back doing what he shouldn't do.
Yep.
So, but as far as I'm concerned,
And
great guy.
I have
was a great
respect
workout.
for the way Maven handled, because Maven went in and said, I'm going to ask you some tough questions. Like,
Yeah.
gave him the chance to
Yeah.
back out before he even did the video.
You got to give him credit for
Give him
doing
credit
it
that
too.
he
though.
still said, yes, I'll do it. He
Yeah.
No, he's when he is who he is.
Right.
Other than the demons come along,
It was like Stevie Richards said in a follow-up to it, like he reacted to it and said like he wishes he had not said if he wasn't ready to make the change, that he just didn't say he was going to make the change, because now it just makes him look.
yeah, because it's going to get worse.
Yeah.
Now, whenever a local guy gets signed by WWE or AEW, and I'm always happy for them, But this guy, I was more happy for this guy because of all the injuries he went through. We were talking about him just a little bit ago. Handsome Johnny, Ivar, Todd, whatever you want to call him.
Todd Henson, yeah.
I was so happy because of all the injuries. So many men would have quit the sport, and he just kept going. And when he finally made it, I felt proud. You know what I mean? Just because I know what he went through to get there.
Sounds like a Cena thing. Never give up, never quit.
Exactly.
And I think, you know what? The young people today need to know that lesson. And John, Todd, Hanson, great example of, you know what? I think I can climb the mountain. I think I can. I think I can. I think I can. I did.
Yeah.
And that's exactly what they lose today.
Right.
They give up too quickly. There's a lot of young men and women who I worked with who said, this is it. I can't do it. Stay with it if you love it.
That's right.
Don't give up. Don't quit. Most importantly, believe in yourself.
Yep.
And if you do, others will believe in you too. So I'm with you with that kid, let me tell you.
My girlfriend's cousin was his teacher in high school. And she hit me up because she found out I loved wrestling. And she said, do you know a guy named Todd Smith? I'm like, yes. I was his teacher. He said he was going to be a pro wrestler. And I said, guess what? He is, and he's really good
Big
too.
time, big time.
So I would send her things, you know what I mean, on YouTube and all that. It was amazing, amazing. And like you said, though, I was so proud.
Yep, I wonder why Malonis never made it.
Yeah, me too. Me too.
He was
Brian's
very
great.
good. And Max Bauer.
Yep.
Yeah, that was a threesome right there.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Now, Max Bauer almost made it.
Yeah.
And then he
Almost.
got his neck or concussions,
Yeah.
one
That
or
was
the
the
other.
neck, wasn't it?
Was his neck? Yeah. He was really talented, Max.
Yeah.
All right, back to the name game. Alex Arion, who some people say is the greatest worker to come out of New England.
Maybe.
Some people say that.
Maybe.
You managed Alex.
I did.
In the big business, correct?
Yes, that's
Yeah.
correct. That's
Yeah.
big business. Yeah, big business. I got into the business.
Right.
What a great guy he was. Although when he first broke in, I remember he broke bottles. I was going to the men's room and he's breaking the beer bottle. And I go, "What do you thought you're doing?" So I'm going to bleed during the match. I said, "No, you're not.
Right.
This is not how we do business." But he's matured so much. He's a great guy, a great human being. I'm so glad I got him into this. But Alex was the guy that knew it all.
Yeah. All right. You brought her up because she kissed you, Cherry Payne.
What a nice young lady she was. We had so much fun at Chaotic. And then when we did the show for my son Daniel, she was there. And I don't know why John decided to throw the kiss in. But
He's hooking you up.
let me tell you something. It was a nice kiss.
She's pretty.
Because I snuck a kiss that I wasn't supposed to. One of the female managers was out there during that show. I don't know if you saw it. I walked around the ring and gave her a kiss. And it was like, what the hell is this all about? I don't know.
Oh.
But she was good. She was very talented, by the way.
Oh, absolutely. You got a couple more guys that you managed. Dave Cole was a hell of an artist. Was he? Canadian superstars, him and Jay Buster. Dave Cole and Jay Buster.
Yep. Two good guys. They're still in the business?
Yes, actually. Dave doesn't wrestle as much, but Randy, Jay Buster,
Jay
works
Buster?
for Lucky Pro
Yeah.
pretty much on every show.
Okay.
But both of them great guys.
Yeah, they're good.
They were a really good tag team.
They work very well together. Yep.
Because Sheldon in NECW had a bunch of good tag teams, man. He had those guys. He had the Crown Jewels, who, in my opinion, was an incredible tag
Great
team.
tag team.
I mean, Rumble and Damon
Doc
Doc
Angelo.
Angelo. Incredible. All right. How about Big Rick Fuller?
What a great guy. The Chop Man. The Chop Man. I always liked working with Rick. He always had my back. I always try to have his. I remember we did a show in Lynn. Somebody stole my tie and somebody spit at him. I thought we were going to get in trouble. And then we did a show where we talked about the chops and the kid no-sold.
Really?
You just
What
don't
an
do
idiot.
that. Yeah, well, he lit him up and his chest kind of got a little bloody.
Barry Ace did that. He messed up the finish, and Rick wanted to
wish-
kill him.
Every time I
wish-
come on your show, you got to mention that name.
It's
Leo.
true, though.
I wish Fuller was still in the game.
Yeah.
I guess he does one show a year for charity. I'd love to manage that guy again. Everybody asks me, can you get him? Can you get him? I say, he won't do anything for anybody.
I'd love to get him sitting right here. I really would. He's
Maybe
such a good guy.
Maybe he'd do it for you via telephone.
Yeah, maybe. We could try it.
Yeah.
Last name, Fred Sampson. Darren Young.
Precious Sampson,
Yep.
my friend who everybody said, and I used to have so many talks with this kid. I don't know what I'm doing, I don't know where I'm going, I don't know who I am. I said, listen to me, you're going to be a star. You are. Just fine tune it.
Right.
Don't worry about it. Let it happen. And look where he ended up.
No doubt.
Look where he ended up.
Absolutely. Do you have anything you want to plug?
No, I'm fine. Just I got a couple shows coming up, and that's it.
And by the
Thank
way,
you for
Leo.
coming on the
and I'm going
show.
to buy myself some whoopie pies. I didn't even know you sold them.
Oh!
Leo, thank you for
Thank
having
you,
me.
guys.
John, thank you.
We're out. Peace. Hi, guys. I hope you're enjoying the show. Listen, I could use a little help to grow my YouTube channel. So if you could please like, share, and subscribe. That's most importantly, subscribe. Send me a direct message, and I'll give you a shout out here on the show. My YouTube channel is real simple. It's just my name, Leo Connors. Thanks in advance. Peace.